Now I got it. Now we cooking with gas. Yeah, I tried to go live a little while ago. I don't know what happened, but apparently my camera was being used by a different application. Anyways, I'm back. Let's go. So, might not like what I have to say, right? You might be booing. After I say what I say, obviously, you'll be booing. But I have to say it anyways because it needs to be heard, right? It needs to be heard. So, if you see the topic, um, it's apparent that the modern woman feels like she's come a long way in today's society, right? The last time there was an election, there was a lot of women elected, especially into the House of Representatives. It was a big thing. They were dressed all in white, right? There was this big to do about it. Oh, and by the way, I have these on because my eyes are kind of red today. Went to bed extremely late. I don't know if it's allergies or what. The temperature is high. It was low before. So I don't know. My eyes been watering. But anyway, we will press on, right? We press on regardless. So if you look at what's been happening in society today, right? I don't think in the past 20 years we've seen women come as far as they have. But at that same time, look at how society has degraded, right? I'm seeing there's more promiscuity, right? Women are all over Instagram being Insta thoughts. They're getting messaged by these guys to come out to Dubai and these other places to perform all sorts of sexual acts for money. And you have content creators on YouTube saying, oh, well, I don't knock your hustle or whatever the case is. If that's what you want to do it. Right? So you have guys of large platforms actually saying that it's okay for these women to do these things. See, now that's where the problem actually began. The modern woman does not have anything that was not given to her because of some, how do I say, some weak man, probably a friend of hers, that helped to give her a leg up in society. It's the same thing in politics, with the women's voting rights. All these things were actually proposed by men who were in power, but it's like being bribed, right? You have a position of power, you get invited out, people offer you drinks. Next thing you know, you wake up and you're in a room with, let's say, a dead hooker or something like that. It's one of those scenarios. Now this person has dirt on you, and they can do whatever they want you to do, right? Like you have to go with it or get turned into the cops. It's one of those kind of scenarios, right? So it happens. It happens in real life. People see it in the movies and it's like, oh, well, that's just in the movies. No, the movies are based on reality, right? Spies use it all the time. It's called a honeypot. Use a woman to get information from a male spy. But the woman was a spy too, right? So you're compromised, right? And that's how a lot of this has happened. But let's go further, right? I've heard people talking about the Super Bowl, and you know how it was the best performance, blah, blah, blah. But look at our culture as a whole. Look at how many rap artists have died just in the last 2 years, so many of them violently. Modern women, these are your children dying out in the streets, killing one another because of how you raised them, because you said you could do bad all by yourself. So you raised them by yourself, and that's the result. When I was coming up, right, people had beef all the time in the rap industry. Apart from very few instances, you would never hear of rappers getting shot and killed all the time. It was unheard of. I mean, apart from, late 90s when Tupac and Biggie got killed. That was not a thing. I mean, yeah, there was like violence in the streets, drug dealers, gangs, things of that nature. But even going back as far as then, it's the same thing, right? It's the same thing about these children being raised by people who are today calling themselves accomplished and all these other things, or they have this degree, they have that degree, whatever. But look at it on a societal level, right? If you're the type of woman that will go to your friend's uh baby shower, or your friend's daughter's baby shower, and she's 16, 17, 15, something is wrong with you. Let's just keep it a stack. Something is wrong with you if you would go and celebrate that, because there's nothing to celebrate. This child is not even out of high school. She's having a child. She doesn't know anything about raising children. But how did you raise that child? That's your fault. And if you say the man ran out on you, guess what? That's also your fault because you chose to lay down with that man. Right? The same thing would be true of the reverse. You're a guy, you get with a woman, she's running around with other men. Okay, that's the person that you chose to lay down with. That's the person you chose to have children with. And yeah, people change sometimes, right? Because I know of instances where guys have been married to a woman, been with her for years, and all of a sudden now they find out she's seeing somebody else. Um, she's spending time with somebody else. Next thing you know, they're divorced. And the guys are trying to figure out, like, yo, what happened? There were red flags that these guys obviously did not take into consideration, and they allowed it to progress that far. I've made the same mistakes in my past as well, so I don't fault anybody for it, but you have to look out for it, right? You have to look out for it, and you have to ask questions. You have to get to know people. Don't just go lay down with somebody, and then when things turn out bad, it's like, oh, it's this person's fault. No, it's your fault because you allowed it to happen. You got yourself entangled with this person when in reality you should not have. Like, you come out of a bad relationship, stay the fuck by yourself. Stay by yourself. Do some introspection, reflect on the mistakes that you made. The next time you put your foot out there, you have to try to be better, not go back in the same situation with a different person or even worse. And that's what I see people doing, right? And women talking about, oh, we came so far, we have all this power, men ain't shit, blah, blah. Like, no, if that is really where you think you are in society, you're headed for self destruction. You remember that song? Self destruction, you're headed for self destruction. Don't ever think you got it all the way figured out. Just look around. Right here in New York City, crime is on the rise. These young boys is out here shooting everything. They don't care. They got mothers at home, but yet still they're out in the streets carrying guns. Now who's to blame? Yeah, you had that child with a man. Okay, where's the man? He's not around. That's your fault. Why? Because you got with the wrong guy. You know what I'm saying? People don't even be discussing like, oh, do they want children or not? They just lay down with each other like dogs. Like, yeah, let's do this. And then what? Actually just saw a video posted by another brother on YouTube. I think they were talking about the whole um, situation of what happened with Whoopi Goldberg getting spanked. You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened to her? Was that some black man's fault? And by the way, what she said was true. You know what I mean? It is not a race issue, if such a thing even exists, right? I worked in a hospital for over 10 years, right? I interviewed Jewish people that came in all the time for ambulatory surgery, inpatient procedures, all kinds of things, right? Those that come in through the ER. Guess what? They state their race as being white, and their religion is what they call Judaism or Jewish, right? So them having the issues that they did with Germany and Nazism and Hitler and all that, these are white folks. Now, I mean, that's not a race issue. Probably a religious and ideological issue, but that's not race. You know what I'm saying? Especially when I tell you that yes, they consider themselves to be white. So what are you saying? Right? People from the Middle East, right? Middle Eastern um, people that I guess you would say of the upper echelon, they also consider themselves to be white. And I'm just stating facts. You know what I'm saying? So when white people have dissensions among each other and infighting and they killing off each other, that's not white or ethnic cleansing. Is ideological issues, probably religious issues. We have that all the time, right? You have it between um, different tribes, right? They might look alike, but backgrounds are different, religious beliefs are different. Same thing with black on black crime. Is that a race issue? No, it's not a race issue. It's black people killing black people. How could it be a race issue, right? But there's gangs involved. There's all these, different things involved, different sets, neighborhoods, all this other BS that you don't own anything, so I don't even know what you're fighting for. I have no clue, but that's what it's about, I guess, right? And these women nowadays, they think like, oh, I own a Birkin bag, I have Gucci, I have Louis, I have Fendi. Like, you're a brand ambassador for a brand that you don't own. You don't have any shares in it. You don't hold stock in it. What happened to just wearing something cheaper? Like, what's wrong with just wearing Adidas, right? And now I'm not promoting their brand, but this is what? How much is this brand new? Probably costs what, $60? Okay, $60. So I will go and buy something just like this because it's Gucci for $600 and say, yeah, I came up. I got my Gucci tracksuit top for $700. When I can spend 60, or you have to have the monogram hat for however much that costs instead of $25 on a New Era hat. Black folks spend the most money on clothing, right? Why? Because all these brands, right, they put out there to black folks. Why? How? Through the music industry, right? You have all these rappers, these like forgetting their names right now. The Baby, right? The Baby, Lil Baby, who else? Quavo and them. Right, these guys they have a lot of jewelry. They wear like the most expensive clothing. The Offsets, the Cardi B's, the Nicki Minaj's. Everything is this expensive brand. It has to be the best. Okay, you're in that industry, and you can afford it. Why are you telling us about it? You're in a completely different stratosphere of income that the average person cannot afford. But this is what's happening. You have people working in their 9 to 5 jobs, really trying to live like these people. And a lot of them is mostly the women. Now, these same women are raising their boys to be the same way. Right? Their boys have to have the most expensive belt. They gotta have the Louis belt or the Gucci belt or the what's the other one? The Versace belt, you know. Like, these are kids, but they don't know how to stay in a kid's place because the woman herself is out of place. Right? She want to be on top. But how can you be on top? You have gained all this power, so called, right? But look at where society is today. Look at how destroyed people are today. Look at how crime is rampant. You cannot blame everything on men when it goes wrong, but then when it goes right, it's like, oh yeah, girl power. What are you talking about? Now, the more power you gain in society, you have to take responsibility, right? You talking about you got this degree, got that degree, got this job, got that, got business. All right, so then what are you doing with it? Apart from being on Instagram, and the younger ones coming behind, all they think of men as is a check and their money and what you can offer them. This whole conversation about what do you bring to the table? These women can't even cook, right? They want you to take them out. So I have to work. I have to pay the bills. I have to make sure I have a car, also pay my insurance. And what do you have to do? I can already cook for myself. And this is what leads these content creators, those are the bigger platforms saying, oh, well, you could just go out and get a hooker, get a high price escort. You don't need to mess around with these females that ain't about nothing, right? And the large majority of them, I don't know if they are or aren't about anything, but if you look at social media, you get this idea that mm, maybe they are for the streets. Maybe they are, right? You look at the Instagram with like the most followers and lifestyle they live. All they do is show their body all day. That's it. That's all they have. Like, you're going to get old. You're going to get flabby. Things are going to sag. What are you going to do then? Is that how you want to raise your daughter, to be all on social media with her ass cheeks hanging out, her shorts, showing her breasts, have 100,000 guys in her DMs? And none of these guys want anything apart from just to smash, right? Make a sandwich with you, themselves, on the couch or their bed or the sink. That's all they want. They're not interested in anything past that. And if you think they are, you're bugging. You're bugging. That's why these rappers be making all these songs about, she's for the streets. Um, we don't love these hoes, all these kinds of things. You know what I mean? Because people are not taking responsibility and saying, you know what? I gotta raise my child better. I gotta do better. My young daughter cannot be on social media showing off her assets all day. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when the child gets to a certain age and they start doing their own thing, they out of your house, then it is what it is. You can't, you know, you can talk to them, can't make them do anything. But there's younger ones that's on social media doing the same thing, right? So men, I would say step up. You have a daughter in the house, you know, make sure you raise her right. Um, you know, you have to have your woman under your authority. Hopefully you don't have any children with her yet. Before that happens, you should have her under your authority. And let's not make any mistakes. The only person you can control is yourself, right? You can only have control over your actions. She decides she wants to be out there in the streets, run around, be friends with hoes, You know, birds of a feather flock together. If your woman's best friend is a hoe and she don't want to dump her and see that that's not the person she should be with, she has issues. Like something is wrong with her. Seriously, right? Like your best friend should not be running around with multiple guys as a woman. As a woman, you should tell her, listen, what are you doing? Like, this is how you want to live your life? Just jumping from bed to bed? Like, you're destroying yourself. Women act like men can't do it, and then if men do it, they should be able to do it. No, you're wrong. And I'm gonna make another video on that. I swear. I am. That's how and why we're built differently. One man can have 13, 14, 15 children probably in a year. How many kids can you have in a year? Just one. You know why? Because men are able to reproduce with multiple people. That's why we have what we have. Semen that fertilizes eggs and brings forth life. You're supposed to be with that man. Listen, I've had a relationship with multiple women at the same time. Did not get them all pregnant, truth be told, but multiple, right? Sometimes up to maybe like 7. I'll talk about that another time. Maybe I will. Maybe I should. You think one woman should be a cum dumpster for 7 men? Is that really what you're saying? No, but one guy can have probably 7 women. Imagine one guy, right? He's working. Maybe some of the other women are working, whatever, possibly. You have that much help. You can have basically your own community. Let's say it's just 2 or 3 women, right? You're working 2 or 3 incomes, a household, right? And I'm not talking about this orgy type of situation. No, I'm talking about doing things decent and in order. Imagine the kind of wealth that you could create with that kind of setup, right? But people are so trapped in monogamy, and that's how the modern woman wants it. She'll trap you in monogamy, but then leave you and go to another guy, and leave that guy and go to another guy. You're still sleeping with multiple men. So that's, stop being disingenuous. Let's be honest, right? You have a problem that needs to be fixed at the end of the day, right? So let's do something about it, right? Let's put things where they go. Let's do things decent and in order. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's time, man, because this community is like, we all over the place, right? Destroyed by police, destroyed by prejudice, by racism, by allowing different groups to come in and co-opt our movements. Like, you have white people talking down on what they call Black Hebrew Israelites. Like, there's too much going on in our community for us to have dysfunctions at home, right? That are just getting worse as they grow. I think it's time to do something about it, time to make a difference, time to make a change. I hope you like this video. I will upload another one, probably at about 4 or 5 Eastern time. Please like this video, share it, subscribe to the channel. When I come on later, I might talk again about the giveaway that I want to do at the end of the month. So till then.